So we're going to do the testing of the decks once again. This time we're going to use the same decks that we used in one of the other ones. This will be part 2. We'll see how different it is. Kind of like a rematch. So we're going to have Noctis, Mai and Zuko, and Baxter go against each other again. And Noctis won the roll-off. So for starting hand, we've got Blitzball Stadium, Jumbo Cactor, Balam Garden, Agatha, Tranquil Clove, Treno, and Gogo. For Mai and Zuko, we've got Swamp, Iroh, Swiftfoot Boots, Mountain, Fire Nation Palace, UA, and Smellerbee. And for Baxter, we've got Weathermaker, April, Reporter of the Weird, Island, TCRI Building, Nobody, Island, and Island. Once again, we will play the lands off screen, and I'll be trying to go a little bit faster through it if I can. So I'll be showing the spells cast, but we won't get into the abilities unless they pertain to what's going on. So Noctis is first going to draw off into side quest, Catch a Fish. We're going to play the Balam Garden, and it's going to come into play tapped. We're going to pass the turn. Mai and Zuko will draw into an island. We are going to play that island, and then we will pass the turn to Baxter. Baxter is going to draw into Mind Transfer Protocol. We will play the TCRI Building. We'll gain a life, and it'll come into play tapped. We'll pass the turn. Noctis will draw into a Mountain. We will play a Tranquil Cove. We will gain a life. It'll come and play tapped, and we'll pass the turn. Mai and Zuko will draw into a Bender's Waterskin. We're going to play a Swamp. We're going to tap the Swamp in an island. And we're going to play Swiftfoot Boots. We will pass the turn to Baxter, who will draw into Underworld Breach. We will play an island. And then we will pass the turn to Noctis. Noctis will draw into the Regalia. We're going to play a Mountain. Then we're going to tap Tranquil Cove for a white and 2 others. And we will play side quest, Catch a Fish. We will pass the turn to Mai and Zuko, who will draw into Zuko Seeking Honor. We are going to play a Fire Nation Palace. It comes into play tapped unless you control a basic land, which we do. We're going to tap Fire Nation Palace, Swamp, and an island. So 1 for a red. And we're going to bring out Zuko, Seeking Honor. We're going to pass the turn to Baxter for a Grand Coliseum. That's what he'll draw into. We're going to play an island. Then we're going to tap 3 lands, 1 being a blue. For April, Reporter of the Weird. Then we will pass the turn to Noctis, who will draw into Guadasalem. Comes into play tapped. And we will play the Guadasalem. Actually, I wouldn't be able to play it yet. At the beginning of our upkeep, we look at the top card of our library, which is Guadasalem. If it's an artifact or creature, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you put a card into your hand this way, create a food token. So it's not. So we'll put it back. And then we will draw our card. It's Guadasalem. We will play that as our land. It comes into play tapped. Then we will tap the Balam Garden for a blue and these 2 others. And we will cast Gogo, Master of Mimicry. We're going to pass the turn to Mai and Zuko, who will draw into Thriving Bluff. We're going to play the Thriving Bluff tapped. We'll say it'll give us red or a blue. Then we're going to tap 3 mana, or 3 lands for 3 mana. And we're going to cast Bender's Waterskin. That was a non-creature spell, so Zuko gets a first strike. We will go to combat, and we're going to tap Zuko. And Zuko, Mai and Zuko will be attacking Baxter. So we don't want to lose April, so we're not going to block, and Baxter will take 2 damage. Because Zuko dealt damage to Baxter, or combat damage to a player, we're going to put a +1 counter on him, and then we're going to pass the turn to Baxter, who will untap, upkeep, draw, and draw into Raphael's Technique. We're going to play the Grand Coliseum. It comes into play tapped. And we're going to tap our 3 lands for Weathermaker. Actually, what I should have done, so let's do that instead. I made a mistake. We're going to tap the 3 lands for Weathermaker, and then we'll play the Grand Coliseum, because Weathermaker has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, put a charge counter on it. We're going to tap April O'Neil. We're going to go to combat, tap her as an attacker, and we're going to go for Mai and Zuko, who has no blockers at the moment. April's going to do the 2 damage to Mai and Zuko, and when she deals combat damage to a player, we're going to draw that many cards and discard a card. So we're going to draw 2 cards, an Island and Chromatic Lantern, and we're going to discard Raphael's Technique. We're going to pass the turn to Noctis. He will draw into the Falcon airship. Oh, no, he won't. Again, upkeep. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. Here we go. The Falcon artifact. So if it's an artifact or creature card, you may reveal it. It's the Falcon. And we could put that card into our hand. So we're going to do that. And if we do that, we get to create a food token and transform side quest. Catch a fish. So it turned into the cooking campsite, which we could tap for a white. And we're going to draw into Ash. We're going to play Trino, Dark City. It comes into play tapped. Then we're going to tap all 4 of our lands. And we are going to cast the Regalia. We're going to tap Go-Go, and we're going to crew the Regalia. The Regalia has haste. So we're going to go to combat. We're going to tap the Regalia and declare that as an attacker. And we will attack... we will attack Baxter for 4. On attack, the Regalia has an attack trigger. We're going to reveal cards from the top of our library until we reveal a land card. So, nope, that's not a land. Nope, that's not a land. I'm sensing a theme here. A land. So we can put that card onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of our library. So Baxter has no blocks. We're going to do 4 damage to Baxter. And then we're going to pass the turn to Mai and Zuko, who are going to untap, upkeep, and draw into the Fire Nation Drill. We're going to play a mountain on our turn. Then we're going to tap Island, Swamp, and Mountain for blue, black, red. And we're going to tap the Fire Nation Palace to cast Mai and Zuko. And then we're going to tap the Thriving Bluff to put the Swiftfoot Boots on Mai and Zuko. We're going to go to combat. And we're going to have Zuko Seeking Honor attack Baxter. And Mai and Zuko attack Noctis. On attack, we're going to Firebend 3, giving 3 red. And we're also going to tap the Bender's Water Skin for a blue. And we're going to use Mai and Zuko's ability to flash in an ally, UA the Moon Spirit. Since there are no blockers for either Noctis or Baxter, Noctis is going to take 3. Baxter will also take 3. On combat damage, Zuko Seeking Honor will gain 1+1/+1 counter. And then we'll pass the turn to Baxter, who will untap, upkeep, and draw into a mountain. I think we're going to play our mountain. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to combat. We're going to tap April. Are we going to... Well, we're going to play our mountain. We're going to put a charge counter on the Weathermaker. I think we're going to tap for a colorless, a red, and a blue. And we're going to cast Mind Transfer Protocol. So until end of turn, target artifact or creature, we're going to say creature, April, becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness of 4/5, and we get to draw a card. So we are going to draw into Raph, Tough Turtle. We're going to go to combat. April is now 4/5. We're going to attack Mai and Zuko. Mai and Zuko does not want to lose UA, so it's going to take the 4 damage, and then April will trigger, and we will get to draw 4 cards and discard a card. So after doing the 4 damage, April's going to draw into Surveillance, Mountain, Buzzbots, and Ultram Monitor. I think we're going to discard nobody. So we're going to tap our last 2 lands and the Weathermaker for a mana of any color. Let's say blue, whatever. And we're going to bring in the Chromatic Lantern. So at the end step, we have 8 cards, so we're going to discard Raphael, Tough Turtle. And then we're going to pass the turn to Noctis, who will untap, upkeep, and draw into Triple Triad. I think we're going to start off by going to combat. We're going to tap Go-Go, Master of Mimicry. Actually, no, we won't. Before we go to combat, we're going to tap 3 lands, 1 for a white, and we're going to cast Ash, Princess of Damaskia. We are going to tap Ash to crew the Regalia. Then we're going to tap the 3 lands we have and the Cooking Campsite. And we're going to put that as X for Go-Go Master of Mimicry. So that's 2X. 2 and 2, and we're going to tap Go-Go. I guess we have to wait for that. We'll go to combat. The Regalia will attack. We will tap our lands, so we can tap Go-Go, and he will copy target activated or triggered ability control. So we put 4 into it, so it's going to X is 2. So we'll copy it 2 times. So when the Regalia attacks, we reveal cards from the top of the library until we reveal land. We'll put that into the battlefield tapped and the rest on the bottom, and we'll do that in a total of 3 times. So, and the Regalia is going to be going for, let's go for Mai and Zuko. So the first time, it's going to reveal not a land. Not a land. Nope. So we got 1 land, this island. It will be going into the battlefield tapped. Second bout. This will be going into the battlefield tapped. Third bout. Command tower will be going into the battlefield tapped. So Mai and Zuko will not block. We'll take the 4 damage. And then we will pass the turn to Mai and Zuko, who will untap and draw into Blasphemous Act. So I think Mai and Zuko are going to hold off for a second. Maybe we'll attack Noctis with Zuko Seeking Honor. And we'll attack with Mai and Zuko. Both of them targeting Noctis for 7 altogether. Noctis has no blockers, so we'll be doing the 7 damage, and when Seeking Honor deals damage, they get to put a +1 counter on him. Then we will pass the turn to Baxter. Baxter is going to untap and upkeep on its draw. We'll draw into Brainstorm. We're going to play a Mountain, putting a charge counter on the Weathermaker. So we're going to spend 5 mana with a blue and a red there to cast Baxter Stockman. When Baxter Stockman enters, we're going to create a 1/1 colorless robot. Then we're going to tap our Weathermaker and Chromatic Lantern for 2 blue. And we're going to cast the Autron Monitor. It's got an affinity for artifacts. We've got 3 artifacts on the board, so it just costs 2 mana. Then we will use our last land for a blue, and we will cast Brainstorm, drawing 3 cards and putting 2 on back on top of our library. We are going to draw into Turtle Lair, Donatello's Technique, and Raphael, the Night Watcher. And we're going to put back Donatello's Technique and Underworld Breach. We'll go to combat. We're going to tap April to attack Noctis for 2, which will trigger, he has no blocks, so it'll get through, and we're going to draw 2 cards and discard a card. We will draw into Underworld Breach and Donatello's Technique, and we're going to discard Donatello's Technique. So we're going to pass the turn to Noctis. Noctis will draw a card. So we got a Forest. And untap. We're going to play our Forest for the turn. I think we're going to go straight to combat. Not quite. We're going to tap Ash to crew the Regalia. Then we'll go to combat. We're going to attack with the Regalia. We're going to attack Mai and Zuko. Then we're going to tap all 10 of our lands for Gogo's ability. So X will be equal to 5. And we're going to tap Gogo. So the Regalia's triggered ability will trigger 5 times on top of its original. So we will trigger it 6 times. So revealing cards from the top of our library, number 1. Well, we got a land. Xanarkand, it comes into play tapped. Number 2 trigger. Nope. Nope. Here we go for number 2. Vector, it comes into play tapped. Number 3. Thriving Heath, it comes into play tapped. We're going to say a white and a red. Number 4. Island, it's going to come into play tapped. Number 5. Mountain, it's going to come into play tapped. And number 6. It's getting harder to find land these days. So North Pole Gates comes into play tapped. The rest of the cards went to the bottom of the library in a random order in each instance. And we will pass the turn to Mai and Zuko. who will untap, upkeep, and draw into a mountain. Mai and Zuko are going to tap a red and 2 others to cast Iroh, Firebending Instructor. Then we will tap for a red to equip the Swiftfoot boots to Iroh. This is not looking good. Noctis is wide open though, so we're going to attack Noctis with everybody. So Zuko, Mai and Zuko, and Iroh. And when Iroh attacks, attacking creatures get +1/+1 till end of turn. So that'll be a total of 13 damage to Noctis. And then Zuko Seeking Honor will trigger and he will put another +1 counter on himself. We're going to pass the turn to Baxter, who will untap and draw into an island. We're going to bring out the Turtle Lair as our land, putting a charge counter on Weathermaker. We're going to pay 4, and we're going to cast Raphael, the Night Watcher. We are going to tap an island to flash in Surveillance Cam, and we're going to tap UA. Then we're going to have Baxter Stockman give the Ultra Monitor +3/+0 Vigilance for a strike till end of turn. We're going to go at, I think we're going to go at Mai and Zuko with the Ultra Monitor, April, and the robot. And we're going to go at Noctis with Baxter Stockman. Because of Raphael, the Night Watcher, they all get double strike. So we're going to do 6, 10, 12 damage to Mai and Zuko. And we're going to do 6 damage to... Oh, wait, we're going to do more than that. We're going to do 6 damage to Noctis. And we're going to do 12, 16, 18 damage to Mai and Zuko. I know I probably should have gotten rid of the Noctis player because you know how they can get away with things. But I also don't want Mai and Zuko to take over the game either. So that's the way we're going to play it out. And we're going to pass to... April gets to draw 4 cards. Whenever April deals combat. So she had double strike. So she hit twice. So she gets to draw 2 cards, discard a card, draw 2 cards, discard a card. So we're going to start off with drawing 2 cards. Island and Airship Engine Room. And we're going to discard an island. And then we're going to draw Donatello Gadget Master and Cytoplast Manipulator. And we're going to discard the Airship Engine Room. So in our second main, maybe we'll tap 2 blue and a whatever. And we'll tap the Chromatic Lantern. And we'll cast Cytoplast Manipulator with Graph 2. So we're going to pass to Noctis, who will draw into a mountain, and we'll play that mountain. So Noctis is going to pay 1 white and 4 others. So we could cast Noctis. We are going to cast we're going to spend 2 green from Command Tower and Forest and 5 others for 7 mana. And we're going to cast Jumbo Cactuar. Then we're going to play a green and whatever to put a +1 counter on Noctis. And another green and whatever to put another +1 counter on Noctis. Then we're going to pay a red. And we're going to use Noctis's ability to give all the creatures trample and haste. We're going to go to attacks. We're going to tap all our creatures. Before we go to attacks, we're going to tap Ash to crew the Regalia. Actually, this time around, we're going to tap Go-Go to tap the Regalia. So we're going to have the Jumbo Cactuar attack Baxter for 1,000 trample. And we're going to have Go-Go, while driving the Regalia, Ash and Noctis attack Mai and Zuko, who have no blockers at the moment. They're going to do 7, 11, 14 damage. So, in the end, Baxter probably should have killed Noctis, but I was kind of playing it as if I didn't know what was in his hand. I didn't know he had the Jumbo Cactuar, and the plan was to take him down and take Mai and Zuko down so that the next turn they could take them both out of the game. On the other hand, I also wouldn't have known that Mai and Zuko had a Blasphemous Act, which could have prevented that. And if it wasn't for the haste for Noctis, if Mai and Zuko got their next turn, they would have Blasphemous Act and destroyed everything, and they would have had to start all over. Noctis getting a bit of a lead with all that land he got from the Regalia. But anyways, it was an okay practice. It did some stuff, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.